subscribe, and ring the bell to never miss an update. Hello everyone! Today on Lady Mary Beth, I'm delighted to showcase a Bellville, Texas antique mall. This shop is full of vintage and antique treasures. I have shopped here since my college days and when I worked for Waterford Crystal. I'm excited to take you inside. Join me. Cowboys are headed to the Austin County Fair. It was great to see the trail riders out today. And there's lots to do in Bellville on the square with restaurants and shops. I'll give you a quick look inside the Gallery, which is my favorite lunch spot. I was pleased to meet Jamie, a viewer, and especially when we realized that she knew my mother. Definitely warmed my heart. And their sweets are delicious. And you won't believe their baker's wall. This is a great photo op. Very creative. Let's take a look inside this antique shop. And the building that you first see is from the mid-1800s. Quite a history here with some amazing collections in this store that have been carefully curated by the dealers and the owner. So much we can discover here. Incredible collections. There's really something for everyone. Welcome to Nothing Ordinary Antiques and Oddities. Bellville is a great place for a day trip or even a weekend getaway. There is the Gallery restaurant around the corner, Newman's Bakery across the street, lots of bed and breakfasts in the area, and I can't wait to show you inside. The beautiful colors are dazzling. Absolutely love all of these grouped together. And I know some of you have this same collection, and I would love to hear from you in the comments below if you have a favorite piece or manufacturer. And we will talk a bit about the history today, as well as some of the well-known manufacturers. And of course, we will look at some beautiful backstamps along the way. A vast collection of Majolica. This reminds me of our Facebook group page called Lady Mary Beth's Table. If you are not already a member, I encourage you to join us. The link is in the video description. It's free, and I learn a lot from our group members, including one who has an incredible Majolica collection that she features in a Welsh cabinet. We've formed some wonderful friendships over the years in our group page. With Majolica ware, you will see everyday items, whimsical. This is a platter that was really meant for use and not display. And they are pretty, but they were also practical at that time. There was definitely a demand for them. And these tiles can also be used as trivets. 146. Lots of detail with the dragonfly. And these I especially like from Germany. I like the finish there with the metal, $116. Very practical. And here we have a Royal Doulton soap dish, which is actually a promotional item made for Wright's Coal Tar Soap. We have all the information on the back. And that is a very special piece to be made by a potter for a specific product. Perhaps that was a gift with purchase. Here's another German trivet with an iris. You could, of course, hang that as well. Made in Germany, look at that. It's part of the mold on the pottery. Beautiful colors. Serene swan. Each of these has a great story with the manufacturer and the time period in which it was made. Definitely reflects the mood of the nation and whatever happened to be going on in their history and their lifestyle. This style of pottery, known as Majolica, was prevalent in the mid to late 19th century, and that is definitely the Victorian era. It was made popular and brought to the attention of the public in the 1851 Great Exhibition in London. And you will see it is a bit naturalistic in style. At that time was useful, practical, and ornamental, made by many different manufacturers. These have a touch of chinoiserie, but actually influenced by a different Asian country. And I'll tell you more about this. The butterfly and bee. I love that nature is represented in so many Majolica pieces. And this is a very well-known design by Wedgwood with a beautiful backstamp. Many of these Majolica ware pieces were influenced by historical events. And this Josiah Wedgwood prunus and fan plate is quite well known, a very popular design of that time, and you will see the Japanese influences. And that is because in 1862 there was an international exhibition in London with the first delegation from Japan with the opening of an embassy, the first in Europe. And we have lots of wonderful details here with the cherry blossoms, the fans, and what a great piece this is with a beautiful backstamp. This is a grand piece made by Julius Dressler. We'll talk more about him in just a bit. And it is a berry set. You'll notice that sauce pitcher is part of it. It's nice that it is complete. I'm sure over the years, many of these have been lost. This is a wonderful German example. I love that. That could just be art displayed on an entry table. It doesn't have to be in your dining room or just for food service. And here we have a candle holder. It's quite grand. It's a triple dolphin lamp base, $250. It's quite intricate. And these special vases were inspired by Bernard Palissy, who lived from 1510 to 1590. He was a great French Renaissance potter and created a style of ceramic art that had three-dimensional still lifes, and these are evident in these wonderful examples, and highly collectible, of course. I especially like the swans. It would be wonderful to create wall art with some of these pieces. And the corn, I just love it. Wouldn't that be great for fall? Famous makers of Majolica ware include Menton, Wedgwood, George Jones, who at one time was a Wedgwood apprentice, Joseph Holdcroft, and Royal Doulton. There were also pieces made by Villeroy Boch in Germany, especially in the Jugendstil or Art Nouveau style. And there was also the famous Julius Dressler from Austria, who had a factory in Bohemia. Here's another example of the Japanese influence from Wedgwood. And that picture could be used for so many different things. Love the backstamp. Of course, it gives us so much information about the history. Such detail with the birds, the cherry blossoms. This picture is priced at $136. Of course, that could be used as a vase as well. Could hold your makeup brushes on your vanity. I have one piece of Majolica ware in my collection that I brought to show you. It is a trivet from the Wedgwood Company in a modeled tortoiseshell design. And I've learned a lot about how to date these pieces. Let's take a closer look at the backstamp and I'll tell you all about this $10 item that I found at Resale with a Purpose that you probably have seen on the channel. I will link that above so that you can take a look. Always turn it over and look for a backstamp because it is a roadmap to the history of a piece. And here we have it stamped Wedgwood and three initials FGS. F is for February when it was made, G is the potter's initial, and S dates it to 1864 using a chart that I found online. You will also notice it has some marks here. See, it shows a bit of white. That is called a stilt mark. When it was placed in the kiln, there were pins underneath it to make sure that the glaze did not stick to the bottom of the kiln. I just have one piece of Majolica, but I'm thinking this would be a great start to a collection. It's easy to get glazed and confused when you're trying to identify Majolica ware. Look for bold, colorful glazes that are applied to surfaces, often with high relief. And of course, we'll look for that backstamp. And there is lots to be discovered out there. The underside is also glazed. That is another telltale sign of Majolica ware, as you will see here. And that beautiful aqua with a tobacco leaf. So many great examples. Even more Majolica. This store is full of treasures. And I wanted to point out that unmarked Majolica makes up the bulk of the production. Some makers were inconsistent and simply marked the largest piece of a service or set. And we are fortunate to have the backstamps when we can get them. This is a Villeroy Boch piece, and you'll see that tobacco leaf pattern. Just thrilled to find this today, $60. I will certainly be on the lookout at the German flea markets for Majolica. Even just adding one piece of Majolica ware to your display would add some interest, and you would have a piece of history as well. This plate is $86. It is French Majolica with that pink and aqua. This one is extra special. I think it was made by Samuel Lear. It is mossed ware. You will notice that sand design that usually incorporates raised flowers or fruit. That's a very special piece. And such detail. And now we will take a look at another area of the store and discover some more collections. In this room, we find anything from kitchenware to rustic, copper, lots of metals, and some German antiques, including some very practical items. And some that you probably have seen in previous segments in our German home. Stoneware or Steingut has been made in Germany since the 1400s in the Lower Rhine area. They have perfected the art. It is fired at a high temperature, it is vitrified and waterproof. You see this a lot at German flea markets. It is a household essential. We have quite a nice collection in our home there. And this is used for storing things such as honey, schmaltz, lard, and even salt in a smaller size. And we have a large one in our basement in Germany for fermenting sauerkraut. Our cellar in Germany is primarily used for storing wine and potatoes today, but originally it was very much a working cellar for curing meats and of course fermenting that cabbage for sauerkraut. Some great kitchen collections here, including those Dutch houses. Those are fun, given out on KLM flights to business class or maybe first class. And here are some Texas-themed items with those horses. And a butter dish with a Jersey cow. That is fun. Very rustic. Would blend well with the Texas decor. This set of creamers is probably from about the 1920s. These are all from Czechoslovakia. Black and white transferware is classic. This would go so well with the holidays too. Just add red or green napkins, even some plaid. Definitely like that look. And silver trophies from 1930. I'm sure it was hard earned. I love framed maps too. I think those are really neat and add some interest to your home decor. And something very familiar in German. There are lots of unique items in this section of the store. We have anything from kitchen essentials to silver-plated trophies, and these can actually be incorporated into your setting. I think that's a really fun item. And I'm also finding something a bit unusual, a hand-painted German shield. This says Flensburg, and that is the city in Germany that sends you all of your speeding tickets. So if you get mail from Flensburg, it's never a great day. I see lots of elements that would work well for fall with those warm wood tones, dried florals, and more Majolica. And I even see some Imari. And brown transferware, that is something that I have not had too much of in the past, and except for a China Baroque pendant. But I think this really would be a nice addition for fall and so many seasons. And I see some chinoiserie in the design. Brown transferware is a classic and neutral and pairs well with just about any season. This cover dish is called Alexandria, made by Wallace Gibson and Company, and I can see this on a vanity to hold jewelry, makeup brushes, and of course for serving any kind of dish on your table. Instead of storing Thanksgiving dishes, you could certainly embrace the brown and white transferware to carry you through more seasons. And these oval platters are fantastic, with a Japanese influence in the Mikado pattern, made in 1878 for $45. Now we'll take a look at something quite unusual that I've not noticed before in other stores. All the more reason to shop here at Nothing Ordinary. Rose Kennedy had a pair of these in her guest room at their home in Brookline, Massachusetts. And I will tell you about the use and history of this Staffordshire creation. There's always something fun to discover here. This is a Staffordshire Spill Vase, and you might think you could fill it with florals, place it on your table, and of course you can. But the intended purpose is actually for something quite different. It is meant to hold spills, thin wooden sticks, or tightly wound curls of paper to transfer fire from one heat source to a combustible material such as a taper candle or tobacco in a smoking pipe. They do have a nice selection of items from a French church, and this is an example of a very unique style of art. I'll tell you more about it. You'll notice the fleur-de-lis there at the base. This is from the 19th century in the Tramp Art style for $795. Lots of detail, and you will notice it's quite rudimentary. Tramp art is highly collectible, and there are several great examples in this store. It is a type of woodworking that emerged in America in the latter half of the 19th century and was popular still through the Great Depression. And it's something that could be made easily and cheaply from reclaimed woods, any source such as a cigar box and a shipping crate. And you will see the chips and notched corners that were made easily with tools that everyone would have had on hand, such as a penknife. Let's take a closer look at tramp art. Another example of tramp art. It's priced at $186. It is a crown of thorns. This unique box is also tramp art, and it looks very Texas. It's got that Lone Star in the center, great for storage, bigger than a Buick, and would be a wonderful addition to your collection. This is perhaps a jewelry box. It is fabric lined with a velvet top, priced at $168. Tramp art was mostly made in home-based settings by men who were factory workers, laborers, farmers, every conceivable occupation. And you will see that these pieces of wood were formed into geometric shapes. They were either nailed or glued. It is a popular collectible, and it's getting harder and harder to find. This room is tucked away and has some wonderful treasures, including one thing that I'm always looking for. I bet you guessed it already, Waterford crystal. This perfume bottle is priced at $70. I know many of you find some great pieces of Waterford out there while you're thrifting and antique shopping. Silver sugar tongs. And now we'll take a look at some things that were very important to some special couples at one time, and it must be the bridal season. There's a lot to share with you here today. This area of Texas was settled by German immigrants, and it's no surprise to see something from 1910 was actually written in German. This is from a bride's probably head wreath, and with dried flowers. It is preserved here in this shadow box, and it says the bride and groom's names, vermählt, betrothed, on April the 19th, 1910. And we also see German in the corners, asking God to bless their union.
German was the prevalent language in churches and schools and, of course, communities until World War I, and especially World War II when it fell out of favor. And this is a real treasure.
It's not unusual to find pillowcases and samplers that have been stitched in German, but I have to say this is my first framed bridal veil that I've seen from a German couple.
How wonderful that the bridal veil was preserved. I will read the corners to you. Gottes starke Vaterhand schütze unseren Ehestand. That's asking God to bless their union.
This would have been a wonderful reminder of their special day. And perhaps this is their bridal photo in this velvet hinged photo frame from the Victorian era. It's priced at $96. It is quite fancy. The perfect dessert set. This porcelain stand is from 1895. Definitely would be great for the holidays and even a golden anniversary. With the covered dessert cups, which would be perfect for one of my favorite desserts, pot de crème. It's quite easy to make, and who doesn't love chocolate? I definitely enjoy opalescent glass. These two perfume bottles are perfect for your vanity, and they're well priced at $46 and $36. And that Fenton tumbler would be a wonderful vase. Let's venture to the back of the store for some unusual finds. Many of these items have been brought over from France. They belong to a well-known Houston antiques dealer. The Gothic window, the French pulpit, things you don't find every day. You'll notice that Venetian mirror tucked away in the background. That just came in, and supposedly it belonged to Carlotta, the wife of the Emperor of Mexico, Maximilian. And she was actually a Coburg, Queen Victoria's cousin, and her father was the first king of Belgium. That French pulpit is $750, and I love the way that they add interest to it.
This is what they call the eclectic and eccentric area of the store. There are some unique finds with this Gothic stained glass, a French pulpit, and some oddities.
Birds were quite a thing in the colonial era, even through the Victorian times, and they even trained them by having musicians play for them in darkened rooms for long periods of time. It's interesting what they did historically with these birds. $345. This is from the 1800s for a pair of birds with a nest. And this Gothic chair probably came from a church in France. $175. And some of my favorite blue and white here, you will recognize a familiar pattern. We'll take a look at some of the beautiful backstamps. And quite an unusual blue willow piece. Made in England. I'll tell you more about this and why I find it interesting.
Blue willow is an iconic pattern made by many manufacturers. This is a first for me to see one that is made into a promotional product. This is actually my industry, my corporate gift world. And the Schweppes company must have had this custom made. It is from England with a beautiful back stamp. And some interesting history about Schweppes. It's pronounced Schweppes in Germany. Jakob Schweppe was a Swiss watchmaker and a hobby chemist, and he's actually the father of the soft drinks industry. He developed a machine that made it commercially viable to produce carbonated beverages. Isn't this a unique find?
Blue willow is an iconic pattern. We have Johnson Brothers for one of our everyday dish patterns. And I have several friends that have Churchill. I wonder what backstamp you might have on your blue willow. Of course, you can certainly mix them. This one is from England. They do look a bit different, even with the various manufacturers. And you know I love this backstamp.
3 rimmed soup bowls, and 3 different backstamps and manufacturers, including Ridgway and Homer Laughlin, the maker of Fiesta ware. This one is quite interesting. It's priced at $13, and as we turn it over, we see that it is made by W.R. Midwinter Limited in England. That is the most beautiful backstamp I have ever seen, and I can't even imagine this being a piece of jewelry. Isn't that a fantastic find?
A sugar bowl with a sweet history. This was made for St. Mary's Hospital on Galveston Island, the first hospital in the state of Texas. Made by E.F. Berg Company from Duluth, Minnesota. This was a German immigrant with a very successful China manufacturing company. For $16. I spy some glassware that is very familiar to me. It's a classic beauty that I actually see every day on my table. I've been looking to add some more. I do worry about breakage when I order from eBay, and I keep hoping that I will find it out in the wild.
A wall of stemware. I'm delighted to find our everyday glasses. This is known as rock sharp crystal. And the glass was either made by the Libby Glass Company or Bryce Brothers of Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania. They provided the glasses to the Sharp Company, and that's Sharp with an E on the end, and they were a cutting operation. They did not make the glasses. They marketed these under the name Rock Sharp Crystal in the 1930s through the early 40s, and you often saw advertisements in magazines such as Good Housekeeping. These are $16 each, and I'm going to consider adding some of these to our everyday collection.
If you happen to be in the market for new glasses, I think you have found a wonderful option here. They are well priced, and they also have a bit of history that I will share with you. A classic look that would go with just about any taste and style. I can see a dessert in this one, even just a scoop of sherbet.
There's an abundance of crystal glasses. This is the Renaissance pattern made by Seneca. It was produced from 1945 to 1976. All of these stems here in the cabinet were acquired at an area estate sale. And these are anywhere from $4 to $10 a stem. And of course, the iced beverage is, I think, the most useful for any kind of iced tea, even water, and a layered dessert.
And I know many of you enjoy looking at furniture, and I do have several pieces to share with you. And this one I think is extra special with the tile inserts. And as you will see, the brown and white goes with just about every color. You could have a pink room, and this would look great for $375.
This washstand with brown and white transferware tiles is a fantastic piece for $375. And keep in mind, this would have been a staple in every bedroom of a home before there was running water. You always kept a pitcher and bowl here, especially in a guest bedroom. And this is a very useful piece with a marble top, and I think would be a great addition to your home.
A classic look, and certainly something you do not find in furniture today. I think the quality and style speaks for itself, and I always go antique shopping when I'm looking to add furniture. Perhaps not a sofa, that I would maybe source at a consignment shop, but these types of items definitely go to my local antique store. And some ruby glass that pairs well with the EAPG, Early American Pattern Glass punch bowls. And a furniture style that I especially enjoy. And I wonder if you might have this in your home. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Very well priced too. And you can't get anything of this quality at a furniture store today. It's definitely worth looking at your local antique shop.
Barley Twist is one of my favorite styles of furniture from England. This was named after the barley sugar twists. We've talked about those extensively on the channel. You may want to take a look at a segment from the Winchester Antique Mall in Franklin, Tennessee, and learn more about Barley Twist. This is an excellent price at $795 for the 4 chairs and table. And look at the detail on the seating. This would be perfect for a breakfast nook.
It's not just about the English furniture. They also have a wonderful example of a French carved cabinet. This is sort of like a sideboard as well. We have something similar at our home in Germany, and it's a wonderful piece to add to your even entryway. It doesn't have to be a dining room. Such detail in the carving. Priced at $1,695, and it's from the 1880s. I would like to imagine the beautiful home that this once had a place of honor. I especially like the side curvature here of the display shelf and great storage for napkins. And here's a sideboard. We're back to the English furniture and that Barley Twist, well priced at $795. And they have some candle holders as well. I'm always looking for small dessert cups, and this forest green caught my eye. I have to take a closer look. I could even see a peppermint ice cream for the holidays. And the price is right too for these anchor hocking beauties.
Don't you love a good deal? A set of 7 sherbet glasses for $24. This is the bubble foot design from Anchor Hocking. I can see this with just about any setting, but especially Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, and that would also make a great gift. Perfect for your favorite ice cream or fruit, shrimp cocktail, or even a glass of champagne.
Fish plates are harder to find, especially in the States. I see these often in France and at German flea markets. And this is a very interesting presentation and collection of fish plates. I find them from Germany, Austria, Limoges, France, many different backstamps. This one is Austrian with a royal backstamp. This seems to be a fire screen that's stained glass. I've not seen one like this before. Priced at $475. And that looks very English. Would love to take this one home. More Majolica. Lots to discover on this side of the store as well. And some bountiful fruit. This would be a great tie-in with Thanksgiving. From Spode. The Reynolds pattern. I think I have some plates in this pattern that I found at Vintage Gifts and Antiques in Houston. And some fruit there in the wall art. And I'm even finding a Villeroy Boch pattern. This is the Alt Straßburg. $49 for that covered tureen. I just love finding V&B out in Texas stores. This is made in the Saarland, which is where our home is. We are 45 minutes from the factory. This wooden swan would be a showstopper centerpiece, even in an entryway. Priced at $495, it is wood carved. I could see that filled with florals. Could really come to life. French nightstands are sweet and petite, and these are quite fancy. $750 for the pair. It's an interesting mirror. Some great legs. Here's another hand-carved china cabinet. This definitely looks French. $4,500. You'll notice the patina on this silver. I think that adds a lot to it. And just so you know, they got in about 42 more while I was in the store from a local collector. These tiebacks are fun in opalescent glass. We talked about these at the Winchester Antiques in Franklin, Tennessee.
A nice display of silver-plated pitchers. These are most likely quadruplate. This one has a beautiful back stamp that is from Reed & Barton, 1868. We can certainly display these with a natural patina. You don't have to keep them polished at all times.
It's always worth looking in a case. You might find something with an interesting history. And remember, we can look at the back stamp and learn a lot about the manufacturers, the time period. And the plates in the back are catching my eye.
Wedgwood caneware has a buff-colored stoneware body. It is made from local marl clay and flint, first produced by Josiah Wedgwood in 1770. Wedgwood caneware definitely improved over the next 2 decades with the addition of Cornish china stone. And we also saw some fashion influences with the introduction of bamboo during the Regency period from 1800 to 1820. This is a great example of Wedgwood caneware.
This oval platter has a very familiar look. It must be Villeroy Boch in the Jugendstil design. That is Art Nouveau. Let's turn it over and look at the back stamp. You'll see the V&B for Villeroy Boch. $110. I will certainly be looking at German flea markets and consignment stores next month when I travel to our home there. And I hope to add some to my collection. And a beautiful peacock plate tucked in the corner. Classic blue and white is something that I absolutely adore. And I must say, this seems to be like a museum tour today. Just hard to believe that something from 1813 is here ready and waiting for you to take home. I just love it. A souvenir cup from San Antonio, Texas. Here is our Texas shrine, the Alamo, San Fernando Cathedral, and one of the missions. This was made by a company in Germany. They made souvenir cups for other cities as well. Lots of treasures here. And these plates are extra special. Made by Wedgwood, the botanical pattern was made from 1810 to 1820.
A Wedgwood botanical dessert plate from 1810. You could simply pick up one plate to add to your plate wall, which is a great way to add some interest to your home. I'm often asked, how do you adhere these to the wall? Well, this is one option, an adhesive disc. Of course, you can also use a plate hanger, and you can easily create a wall space. I will show you what they have done with some platters.
A beautiful display here of wall art. Isn't that fantastic?
This mason drain is definitely an antique. It is from 1813. And this would also be a nice addition to wall art. And here they have 2 different discs attached to it. This would have originally sat on top of a platter to drain the juices when you're serving meat. And here we've got 2 large platters and dessert plates. It makes a very interesting look for your home, your space, and you can certainly collect things as you go. And one easy way to plan that is to use newspaper. You cut it to the size of your item. You can actually maybe even tape it to the wall, place your nail, and then it's easy to create this display.
I am over the moon to have found some more of our Libby Rock Sharp glasses. Now our cabinets are full and we have plenty for company, and I will tell you that even water tastes better when you sip it out of a fine glass. And these are dishwasher safe too.
So glad you joined me today for Nothing Ordinary Antiques in Bellville, Texas. I hope that you pop into this store and discover some of the fantastic collections and oddities. I'm taking home the Rock Sharp crystal glasses. Glad to add these to our everyday beverage glasses. We definitely needed some more. Thanks again for joining Lady Mary Beth. Elevate your everyday with antique shopping.